He earned a PhD from Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, Hungary in 1961, and a doctorate of philology degree from Leningrad State University in 1975. He's a member of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. His research interests include Mongol and Inter-Asian studies, language and cultures including Old Turkic, Tibetan, Manchu, Evanki, Khitan, and Altaic philology, history of writing systems, Altaic linguistics, and Mongol literature and folklore. He regularly teaches classical Mongol literature and folklore, and the history of Mongol writing systems. He has published numerous articles and books in a variety of languages, two of which are his books, the Uyghur translation of Guru Yoga's Deep Way by Saskaya Pandita and the Nama Samgiti, book number 8 in a series of volumes published by Berliner Urfeintext in Berlin in 1977. And also the books on the Mongolian nomads published here in Bloomington, Indiana in 2005. In the words of his colleague Christopher Atwood, Mongolian language and literature is his great passion. His books and articles have set the standard and laid the groundwork for Mongolian studies. Perhaps the greatest tribute to György Kara is the Altaistic methodological rule we could learn from him at Indiana University for dealing with particularly thorny problems. It is this: ask Professor Kara. So please join me in offering him a warm welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. It was a bit more glorious than reality. I apologize. I can stand. No, I cannot stand too long, so I'm sitting. And before I talk my presentation, there's some lessons I've been doing with studying languages. And one big lesson is that the lessons are never enough. So we should learn until the end. And some other important messages that I learned is that members of small language families may have significant influence on other languages in favorable historical circumstances. And that's also true for Mongol languages. Another one, which is also commonplace, I think, changes in the social and cultural history generate most changes in the language. And most tendencies, rules, and laws are bound to time and space. That's sometimes forgotten when we use various principles we learned in our work, and then we extend their validity for times and spaces where they are not valid. So, and maybe another important thing is that most tendencies, rules, and laws which are bound to time and space are not always fit the frameworks learned from the Indo languages. So not all versions of Greco-Roman or Indo-European grammatical traditions are applicable for all languages of the world. And I mean, for instance, the SOV structure, which I usually say that it's a mixture with S and O. Subject object are categories of the part of the sentence or syntactic categories, and B is a verb category. And the notion of verb categories is also to be reconsidered. And first I begin with the disputed classifications of the living languages and dialects. And when I began to study Mongol language in the Great Antiquity of last century, then only a few languages or even dialects. now we have much more, and there are still languages which are probably to be discovered. And now we have Western Mongolian group, including Oirat and Kalmyk. And according to some, Western Mongolian Oirat is spoken in Western Outer Mongolia and in Eastern Turkestan, or if you like, Xinjiang and Jungaria. There are different languages. For instance, the great physicist of Russia and then of the United States, Nicholas Popper, claimed that Oirat in Asia and Kalmyk in the southeast and most corner of Europe are different languages, because we still use for the principles introduced by the great linguist Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin for the Soviet Union. But linguistically, these are one and the same, Western Mongolian. And then we have the Buryat dialects, and according to some, there is one Buryat language. According to some, Western Buryat, Eastern Buryat, maybe dialects, maybe different languages. And for the official Russian opinion, one Mongolic language spoken in the territory of Buryatia, the so-called CeLCAR is also a Buryat dialect, but in fact it's a dialect of the Central Mongolian language. So there are a lot of such disputed elements here, where purely linguistic principles and historical principles and political principles are mixed together. So up to now there is no clear classification. What is clear for the scholars of China, Mongolists in China, we have two kinds of Mongolic languages. One modern Mongolian language with many dialects. We heard a lecture about them in this conference. And the other is a group of peripheral or border languages, or isolated language isolated from the main archaic languages, what the term is for them. And one of those was discovered recently, described shortly recently. Its name is a Chinese term, ConCALL. It's spoken in the Tibetan, Sino-Tibetan Mongolian borderland, which are part of China in the province of Qinghai, and Gansu. And my Finnish colleague, Juha called this Amdo-Sprach, and Amdo is a Tibetan name of that territory. So there are still a lot of things not fully studied, examined, and we have their endangered languages, and of course the scholars of China, a lot of inner Mongolian scholars and Han Chinese scholars made great work, and we have now much more materials as 60 years before, but still not enough. We have, for instance, a comparative dictionary of the Mongolic languages published in Xining, in Qinghai, but it doesn't cover all the known Mongolic languages, and even not all the inner Mongolian forms or dialects are sufficiently described. So a lot of work can be done. Hopefully it will be done, because some of these units are endangered and they rapidly change. So among these separate groups of all the archaic languages, we have one which is now practically extinct. It was still spoken in the middle of the 10th century, called Hamgan or Kamligan, which is a mixture of some Tonksic elements and Daur, and now it's heavily influenced. It was heavily influenced by the central Mongol or northern Mongolia. The same Finnish colleague also speaks about tribal dialects, but it's a little ridiculous term because in the last century or in the late 19th century, people spoke about the Mongolian tribes, but always original tribes. Both units which are called tribes in the early literature are in fact Manchu military administrative units. So the term is obsolete. But anyway, we have, I already mentioned one of these older languages or archaic languages, archaic in the sense that these languages became more ancient features than the other languages, but at the same time they also developed a lot of innovations or features which are due to the environment. Such a language is spoken in near Tibetans, and the Tibetan influence greatly influenced the language of Daur, for instance, which is an important very small language spoken in northeastern China, in about Inner Mongolia and the province of Ilumsan, and also far away around the present Chinese Kazakh borderland hilly region. And that's very influenced by the official language of the Manchu Empire, of which China was a part. And, many Daurs lived together with Evenki, Tonksic people, and they were bilingual families, and so Evenki influence is also important there. We also, I mentioned the Daur or Daur. Some of my students looking at Professor Popper's English words where this Edmoning or name of this language written D-A-G-U-R, this is a Central Mongol form, and some might think that perhaps it's a Dagur, but it's Daur is a little bit better for that. And Popper was one of the first scholars who recognized that this is not a Tonksic language, but a Mongolic language. But in his 1930 publication, which was published in Russian, he wrote Dagurskoye narechye, which means the Daur dialect. That is part of the dialect. So if you know Central Mongolian or some of the milder Inner Mongolian tones, you can understand a lot of things. But if you listen to a Daur speech, then there is no communication. So we have the Yellow Uyghurs language, what is the Eastern Yellow Uyghur, not a Turkophone, but a Mongolophone group, and their language is basically mainly or very tiny minority, and it's an endangered language too. And there is a much bigger group of Mongols living in the Ando area or Qinghai or Kukulor area, and they were defined by the Chinese taxonomy as the two nationality, and Tumen or Tutu. Tu means earth, that means aborigines, and then it turned out that the same term was used for two groups, and whose languages are so different they don't understand each other. And now we know we have more materials, again not enough, we need more materials of their languages, and we know that these Mongol languages are in fact two, if not three. So I think I finished this section. It's enough to show that there are still a lot of things to be done here and to explore the field work and then the principles of classification will be probably or should be changed. Now, as the history of this language family, Mongol language family, is shallow, so we cannot compete with the Indo-European languages or inside of them with the Persian and historic Iranian languages. And we have scarce sources from the pre-10th century. And then after that, we have Mongolic words in the only partly deciphered Titan monuments, the writing systems of the Yao Empire, and from the 10th to the 12th centuries. And then we have Mongolic words in the language of the Jurchen Empire, the Jurchen language, it's a Tamsic language. And the Manchu is a kind of continuation of that, and there we have a lot of Mongolic elements in several layers, and there is a layer there, a group of words which are pre-Chinggis, pre-13th century. They're very important for the history of Mongolic languages, for the phonetic history and word history. Sorry. I still use the periodization as old Mongol or Mongolic. Mongolic is a new term. It's introduced by Ahmed in this great collection of papers he edited. So Old Mongolic or Mongolic, and it's pre-13th century, which is dark period. To add something about the decipherment of the Titan monuments, one script is, or both scripts are inspired by Chinese writing system. And in one we have clearly Chinese characters, a little bit distorted, but we can recognize. That means the meaning is clear, but the reading is not, because they are logograms. And there are also a lot of signs which are maybe phonograms, but usually syllabograms. And so it's a very mixed writing system, like modern Japanese, but modern Japanese, you know that this is a logogram, and this is a syllabogram from this or that set of signs. Here, it's the signs don't reveal their nature. And now we know a lot of characters and sometimes even the approximate, only the approximate phonetical value. And there are some well recognizable Mongolic elements. But yeah, words we only can see the phonetic structure or more or less, but but no cognates are found in the known languages around. Only Mongolic, in Tamsic, well, it's not very likely in Gilead we can have any cognates. So it's a very hard knot, but it's very interesting. Interesting is plant into my soul by my teacher, and then I transplanted to my students while as a Shimonekis working now. And they sometimes developed new theories about the classification of the Mongol language family. Well, Yuhyan uses Para-Mongolic for the language of the Khitans and the so-called CMP languages. Now, I already mentioned my target is Indo-European-based structures of or models for syntax. And for me, the SUV doesn't work in Mongolic, and it doesn't work in Foxy2 and in fact for Object as well. So I use a complement, subject, complement, predicate, or what's consistent to the Western Czech syntax. That is good to use. Except when the structure is evolved by external influence. For instance, in the late Mongol philosophy from the early 10th century, in Arabic script, which is philosophy and textbook of phrasebook, where you have the Arabic version and the Chagatai and Mongolic. And the Chagatai already was eroded by the Persian influence, so the third order is much clearer, and the Mongolian sentences there are very similar. So, but otherwise, in more or less in that Mongolic languages, we have this very rigid structure where the predicate is always at the end, except great emphasis in the sentence, and we can use inverse word order, but normally the predicate is the last, and the predicate is not only a verb, it may be a noun, and maybe a verbal noun. And verbal nouns, some people call them participles, but the English participle or Latin participle is very different from what we have here. So verbal noun, the head is still verbal, the tail is only nominal, and that's good to build further. You add a suffix, and we subordinate that whole sequence of concatenated units. And in theory, you can write a novel in one single sentence. Of course, nobody does it, but sometimes in all the narrative text we have page-long sentences. And the reader, especially the beginner, is desperately looking for a finite form and the sentence final. If it's a finite form, it's okay. I mentioned the nominal sentence. We have a lot of nominal sentence final markers, which are derived from common words. For instance, pronoun what, and for what we have a verb is thing, something, and then it's truncated and it's used in the sentence final nominal predicate. Or we can end a sentence with a negative noun, and one is the negation of quality, and the other negation of the existence, just like Marshall mentioned this tegil or tegil and yok, and we have in Mongol also gave for the negation of existence, and in other words the usul, which is negation of quality. I mentioned that some people think that this word usul is a Chinese long word, but I don't think it's Chinese has push is a negative word, and sh is more than konhua is more than the so I don't think it's right etymology. It's a two-page methodology. So nominal copulas are important in nominal sentences. One more interesting thing to illustrate what I said. This is a quotation from the 13th century Mongol secret history of Mongols. And this is a long sentence, but it's a one sentence. I gave here the translation too. I tried to remain as near as possible to the original, but I have to say that there are much more sweet and literary translation, but the whole is cut into several sentences. But in fact, this is one sentence in the original. And if they pick out all the complements, then we finally find two words. One is the subject and one is the predicate. And this is the predicate is unafforded. The hero, do are they one-eyed or blind? The original text sent. And so on. And everything else is complement to this sentence. You can see that. And although we have dominantly a right-branching agglutination, still there are a few left-branching features in word formation. And one is a prefix. An intensifier prefix, which is known from Mongol and it's used in modern Mongol. And we have this feature in Turkic languages and some Turkish languages as well, where this prefix is derived from the word itself. So we take the first part of the first syllable and add a final consonant, and then it's a prefix. So kuka is blue, and kuka is intensity, very good. So this I would say non-agglutinative device. But it's not only with so-called adjectives. I fight against the adjective in this case because in these languages we have nouns which sometimes are used as attributives, sometimes they are as a predicate, and sometimes used for an abstract notion. So green, not greenness. Turkish also know the word tümen, which means in Old Turkic, maybe an European word in Old Turkic too. It means a myriad of 10,000, and if you have tük tümen, you take the first two sounds of tümen and then paste a stop in this energy, tük tümen, taking myriads, as we say, endless many, countless many. Another feature is a partial reduplication. It's a disparaging plural demarker, and I quote the note word like temege, modern teme, or in and it means camel, And if you like to speak about camels, negligent tone, keme, seme, kemeke, semeke. So we change the first consonant, and then so this function of reapplication. Or shire, shiregen or shire moment is a table, something like phone, and shire mire, that's some tables. So important. And then there is a big round, an autonomous round of the onomatopoeic or sound symbolic words, or some called ideophones. There is a non-agglutinated word formation with root or generation here. And one very well-known example is the pair of two nice syllabic kaga, hak, or ko. And what is, and these are used as pre-verbals. So, but like adverbs, but verbs to break are derived from these. Kaga la means to break, as a transitive breaking, to break a slab, for instance, or and kuku la means to break a rod-like thing. So breaking, this breaking, that breaking, but the semantic field is different, and that's indicated with the change in the vowel, which is a very common feature in the Semitic languages. In Arabic, in classical Arabic, also Hebrew is also present. Therefore, there's no the Arabic word kitab, which is book, and katib, which is scribe, and so on. So we have something like that here too. And they are very important in the vocabulary, and they are verbs, verbal stems, and roots indicating a state of a certain state of an object and shape, and sometimes even the material of which is characteristic for that object. And here I quote, for instance, the word bömböi. Bömbö is a stem, and he is a status verb. So which means to be global or to be spheric. And it's exactly the same game as we have in European languages like Italian bomba, bomb in English. One of these two things, bomba, so B and O and N and again a B. And we have here bömböi. But if you say Bombay, that means it's half steroid. And if you add another suffix, it means the high frequency movement of such a thing. If you add another suffix, it means it's a big amplitude movement of a similar thing. Like Bömbüge is a ball, and Bumbüge means this type of movement, and Bömbüge is bouncing. And then if you add the suffix here, you can receive a noun, sometimes adjective noun, sometimes Bömbüge means round or global, but it's maybe roundness too. And sometimes from this very spatial meaning, that means indicating the form or shape, we have figurative meanings, and there are a lot of cases where the derivative meaning is more important than the original meaning of the stem. What's an old well-known thing that the personal pronouns show was a non-agglutinative formation of plural. B is first person singular. Ba is again the changeable vowel. Ba is the old exclusive plural. And what's lost in already in the Mongol language, there was a third person singular P in which language for the A and A is the plural. There's only one language which has the paradigm of this lost third person singular plural, that's ignorant vowel. In is third person singular, an is plural. So this won't have a big formation of that plural. It's interesting to mention that we also gender in these languages, but it's not the grammatical gender. It's a natural gender indicated by suffixes in some finite verbs in the Mongolian, and in an attributive suffix. And we have it even now in the Mongolian in the names of villages for animals, for horses, for instance. Kara is a male black, and Karakchin, Karakchin is a female black. And this could be used in names of the given animal, the horse. But these also appear in old ad names, clan names, and in the secret history we have Mongol Jin, it's a feminine form, and the lady was Mongol Jin, that was a member of the Mongol clan. This was a relatively small clan in the early 13th century, and the husband was called Jigadai, combines the masculine suffix. Those people who work on these pre-Qing Liao monuments will be found also gender indication in Khitan texts, but it's still not quite clear. But it's clear that it's not grammatical gender. Again, the natural gender reflected in some color names, and we have already in the different texts and the dates, a lot of color names, because they use this 12-year cycle system, and the color names too, the male and female forms, but no Khitan color names are identical with any known Mongolian color name. That is a great disappointment. We thought that if we'll get access to the political side of this language, and we will find much more elemental. Now, as I already mentioned, we can read ordinary words. Sometimes we can guess about the meaning, sometimes not. Long words and no known Mongolic or even Taoic equivalents. Turkic is, of course, there are some Turkic words in Khitan, but those are the very ancient Turkic words borrowed by the Mongols in 2000 before. And since the word are here, that's was found in Khitan too. Another interesting problem is the problem of stress. Already in the mid-19th century, when the first scholar and grammars appeared about Mongol. In one very good grammar, it's written that the stress is always in the final syllable. And the author of that grammar was Mavrodnikov, whose mother was Buryat. I don't know if it's really Buryat or Salem Buryat himself, but I mean that we have the stress on the final syllable. Kovalevsky was a Polish explorer, worked in the great Tatar capital Kazan. He claimed that the stress is the first syllable. And in Polish, in his native language, the stress is fixed, so probably couldn't mistake it. And probably was influenced by his knowledge, fluent knowledge of Russian, where the stress is high pitch. And Mongol words really stress in the first syllable, but there is a rising tone. But this is a very interesting problem, and some people already did some modern research using some technical devices, but up to now we haven't final answer. But in my native language, the stress is always in the first syllable, so that may influence my opinion that some Mongol scholars who wrote about this, they also insisted that the stress is normally in the first syllable. Some long vowels maybe may have a secondary stress and sometimes take over, but normally in the first syllable. And this is very important for its modern diversification prosody, where the alteration, good initial alteration is strongly stressed. But then there's a rising melody, so integration. Now, the lexical and structure in terms of other languages on Mongolian, we have a lot, and I listed here some too much Turkic elements in Mongolian. I wrote here like RL Turkic, which too much is another language, and Bulgarian, Bulgarian was one, but this is probably before that somewhere. There is one word here which is probably new, which is Gilba, is to flash, and we have Gilba, Gilbe, Gelbach, Gilbe, and Gilbe again, Gelbalgan, Modern Online, something lightning. And I connect this with the Turkic Yashu. To be the flash to be derived, and we have some cases where against the normal Turkic initial Y and Mongolian J, we have G, G. And in Manchu we have some words, so this is called etymology, and it's right, and it's also belonging to the post-ancient relation of Turkic Mongolic languages. And also noted here a plant name. Sometimes it's translated as Elimus, that's a feather grass. And very soon is a Mongolian suffix, and very is the same as Turkic, yes. And that's why it's more finding. And on the handout, I listed some native Turkic elements. Ulus is Turkic, but then it was reborrowed by the Turks in the region of Ulush. and all Chinese elements, mid Chinese elements, Tibetan, Manchu, some of the languages mentioned, but lower toxic Manchu influence. The Mongol language is still spoken in Afghanistan. It's heavily influenced by the Iranian environment, psychologic. Bilinguality is, of course, a way of these influences, and also a way of extinction. And Mongolic languages have great influence on Turkic languages, on toxic languages, bridging Mongolic influence on Georgian, for instance, I mentioned. And I mentioned the word which is Karavul, is car, sentiment, walk by. It was thought to be a Turkic language. György had stated that this word also came from Mongolia, from the word kara to look to car, and György wrote that this word went to Egypt, to the Mongol, took chapters, and from them to Sudan Arabic, and from Arabic to Swahili. So it's a long journey of a military term. But and well, it's probably half. It can be continued for hours and hours, and a lot of interesting stories. Each word has its, each language has its biography. Each word has its biography, and the last I mentioned that you have some other deviations from the righteous one syntax, so you can see that. I think that someone who is well versed in Russian and thinking already Russian and then working Russian structure, Mongolic. And all you mentioned is questions and I think this is the meaning of the Altic Sprachbund, or sometimes called the Altic Commonwealth. The manifold contacts of Mongolic, Turkic, and Tangisk languages and beyond still offer a great amount of questions, problems, and even into the shadow of the hypothetical common basis language, this is still a very Altic linguistics, because there starts to be enough talks about generations to come. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much. We sure appreciate it. And also, we would like to take questions. And Rahman John, if you want to pass this around. Do we have any questions at all?
Thank you for this very interesting talk. I have actually a data question about reduplication in Mongolian. So you mentioned Bob, Boro, Nob, No, Nohoan. So it is usually B, but for Tumen it is J. So Tug Tumen. Is it because of M? I wonder if it tries to be different, because M is bilabial. So I'm wondering whether it is trying to be different from the place of articulation of the root in this case.
Maybe. I'm not sure. We should check examples for another M. I don't remember the whole name. No one is intro. Show this picture. But in Turkic, you actually then may ask.
Right. Yes.
Very wide. Normally we have a B.
Right.
In the partial reduplication we have usually an M. But there is a if there is an M in the word, then we have an S, like M-A.
Bloomington, yours off.
Just right, so okay. Next question.
Thank you. Thank you for this very interesting talk. I have a question about the flexive tendencies that you report in Mongolian, so as opposed to predominantly agglutinative tendencies. So we also have the case where the vowel changes in the pronominal system, so showing a more of a flexive system. Also in terms of ben, bana, sen, sana. Do you have any idea as to where this comes from? Because you also report the same thing for Mongolian. That B becomes ba, chi, to cha.
Well, ben, bana is different. That's what's interesting. The change of the vowel, but you have the first person basic or single or nominative form, and then bana is an oblique form. But in this case, in Mongol, we have the E form for the singular and the R form for the plural. And but B was originally also Bilar in Mongol. Not in any non-living language or not in the accessible monument, but from the system it's very clear that it was originally not B but B. And so this Bilar all lost in the later language. And probably already before the Mongol Empire in Khitan we have words which show that they have no U. We have some signs for this Bilar vowel, but only for Chinese elements. So it's never in the Khitan word. So it was B and T and U. And it became E, 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 and T almost immediately became Chi. Because this neophyte front vowel palatalized the T and it became effectively D, Chi, then so that's different.
That's different, you were saying. Okay, thank you.
Can I comment on this? In Turkic, you also have the change between singular and plural. You have ben and biz, and sen and siz. And in Old Turkic, it was not just ban, banga, but also, for example, san and sini had different vowels. So there were, I think it's one common feature between Turkic and Mongolic, that there is no vowel change in the stem in nouns, but there is in pronouns in general, and as I said, it's sen and sini, and also ban and biz, so it's the whole system. Also, there is, with this same pronoun, there is uncha and ancha in Turkic, in Old Turkic. So there's a very similar pronoun, u and a, unchup, anchup, and so on. So I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but the feature that pronouns change vowels in the inflection. That's a common feature, I think.
But as I said, that's an isolated feature, but in these ideal forms or something like this word, it's very developed. And I gave this topic to all my colleagues who is now a retired professor of university in Bloomington, and he defended his dissertation in Budapest. And about this, he covered the words where the basic meaning is to be protruding forward. And one form was tende and tunde and tunde and so on, and protruding, more protruding. And so there's a whole system of such things. And what I didn't mention that, for instance, Yakut, which is full of, say, Proto-Buryat or Mid-Mongolian elements, we also have this system. And Tatar has sometimes Kazakh, such something of word which seem to come from the Mongolian system. So that's what is it's much developed in the Mongol languages. And already in the earliest 13th century sources some data. But our dictionaries, what I did mention, our dictionaries, we have now a lot of dictionaries for Mongol languages, but still we have not a dictionary which can be used for all purposes. Not a dictionary which could cover all the classical Mongolian words. And now we have, for instance, a 5-volume modern Mongolian dictionary, Mongolian dictionary. But if you read the text or listen, you can find words which are not in the dictionaries. So, sorry, many words.
Can I ask you a question? Concerning gender, you had Thai and Tu. Is Thai feminine and Tu masculine, and in what texts?
Well, in the Mongolian text, normally it had a noun, and we add the two, like, well, let's have the word temege, which is deve, camel, and temege tu, that means a male guy with a camel, having a camel, and temege te, that's a female, a lady with a camel.
In the secret history.
Morin, horse, Mori tu is a horseman, Mori tai, a horsewoman, if you like. But this is lost in the later language, this difference is lost. But we have it in the translation of Buddhist scriptures, where many Buddhist writings begin the word meaning holy. And it's a word having a Turkic equivalent, kutuk, kut in Turkey, kutuk means happiness, blessedness, and so on. And kutuk tu is the masculine form, kutuk tai is a feminine form. And some of these scriptures are consecrated and dedicated to male symbolic deities, some to female symbolic deities. And then we have this system up to the 17th century. Kutuk tu, such and such deity, and kutuk tai, such as a goddess, also symbolic goddess. And when my teacher, Professor Ligeti, made a description of the Mongolian books of Paris collection, this was published in the ConCALL, this prestigious journal of the French and the Dutch. And then he wrote that, and Paul Pelliot was a giant. He made a note that Ligeti is not right, because this term holy is not applied to the beast, but to the work. And he was right in the sense if you have the Tibetan original or the Sanskrit original, but for the Mongolian it was surely Ligeti was right. So it has such an anecdotal history.
We have 4 more minutes. If it, do we have?
Considering the history of Mongolic and Turkic languages, you mentioned that they have exchanged a lot of features or words. So I was wondering if there is any language that that people cannot decide either it's like a Turkic or like a Mongolic language, or it's kind of like in between or.
Well, there is a small group of Western Mongols, the Sarkit Kalmyk, who live in Kyrgyzstan, and their language has a lot of Turkic elements, not only old but new, Kyrgyz elements, for instance, but still they know that they are not Turkic.
Thank you. I have a question about the analysis of reduplication. So you've described the two types of reduplication here as left branching. And so I'm not a syntactician or morphologist, so I was a little bit confused, and I wonder if you could clarify in the color intensifier, like owalan, the reduplicant comes first, and then the full word walan comes second. And then in the plurality, like mahsach or shirumire, I would say that the full word is the first one, and the reduplicant is the second one. And so could you clarify why those are both analyzed as left branching?
They are different. Right, in the first case, we have a formative and prefix added before the verb. In the second case, we have a kind of prefix, so it's not for the first verb, but it's for the second verb, because we had Chile for devil, and we changed it to Mille. That means we did not add something after Chile, but we changed the beginning. So that's again a left branching, but in a different sense.
So the m in Mire is the...
So that's at the beginning of the word. So that's a kind of quasi-prefix.
I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about stress in Mongolic varieties, because as you mentioned, everybody has a different opinion on the location of stress, and some people, the common, I think, understanding is that it is on the first syllable, but as you mentioned, if there is a long vowel, that sometimes takes precedence. And some argue that it is the rightmost long vowel that becomes stressed when there is a long vowel for standard Mongolian. So is it usually like this in Mongolian varieties? Do you know anything about stress in Kalmyk or other Mongolic varieties? And what is your opinion of stress?
It's very clear. A great Swedish scholar, the spiritual ancestor of Jan and so on, and so on, Ramstedt had some experimental studies in his commentary. And what I heard from Kalmyk is they have a very strong first syllable stress. And in their language, the short vowels, what I didn't mention here, short vowels are reduced sometimes up to 0. In the orthography, you can find words where you have one vowel in the first syllable and no vowels at all behind that. Of course, they have schwa sounds, but the stress is very strong, and dynamic stress in the first syllable. And I heard reading poems by Mongol poets, older generation in Mongolia. And in Mongolian, just as in all Turkey, we have the initial alliteration. That's a great question again, because in Mongol it's very clear that the alliterative syllable is always stressed, and it begins E, and then you may go out. But it's dynamic stress in that. And I remember this, all the Mongolian poets read their poems always that way. But later in modern Mongolian poetry, I heard the younger fellows who read their verses in a little bit Russian way, this Tolhaik or Tolhaik way, so that's a stress in the end of the verb. And Andrew Shimonek is one of my bright students that he's fluent in Mongol, that's his family language. And he wrote a qualifying paper when he wrote the stress of the final syllable. I was silent. I don't believe in that. So, but this is sure that, for instance, if you listen to know about chili beats, which is television, chili beats, yellow beats in the normal voice, but normal language becomes chili beats. So, ulan matras yemken, ulan matras yemken. So, ulan is stress. So, the long vowels could grab the stress. And then in some words, when the first syllable is short, a short vowel, and no coda, then it's a very easy dictum. And we have words which lost the first syllable. And we have this word in Turkish, neck, which is cow. In Hungary is ünő, and the woman is üniye. And in some of the in one Western Korean dialect or language is nye, simply. Because the short first syllable is disappeared in the thin air. So. And there is a word unen in the oral of unen is truth and true, and un is price, the same word is a split of the same word, and unen ien is each mental plus the subject position marker, which means truly, and this sounds in full as unere, but in modern we have simply nere. So no first syllable, or also the first syllable is dead.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Kara. Our time is up, but we encourage you to come to him afterwards and do as Chris Atwood suggests and ask Professor Kara. So please join me in saying thank you very much. Now.